my friends, we are going to start initially on our sweet potato casserole. So I've done this before and I've used butternut squash and I mixed cauliflower with it. But this time around we are going to use this calabaza squash. If you couldn't find this, you could use the butternut squash with the cauliflower. I'm following the same ingredients, just with the exception of the type of squash that I'm going to use. So I'll have everything linked down below. So first things first is I'm going to go through this squash and I'm going to clean out the seeds and just dice it up because I'm going to put it on a baking sheet and I'm going to roast it. My oven is preheating at 375. I'm going to roast it for probably about a half an hour or so I could mash it in the food processor. So you're going to go through, I'm not going to take the skin off because I've had it with the skin on and it's pretty good, and I'm going to mix it all together, but I am going to take the seeds out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and then I'll be right back. Okay, so this is what we have right here. I cut up that big half. It's probably going to be a little bit less than the recipe, but this is just going to be for me and my family. So I didn't want to go overboard because with this, we're going to have to eat it as a family. I'll probably be able to bring some over to my in-laws, but my dad won't eat this. So anyways, I just went ahead and tossed it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil and sprinkled some salt. And then throw it into the oven for about a half an hour until it's nice and roasted and soft, because we're going to food process it to make it like a casserole. If you guys can get your hands on this type of squash, I prefer this over the butternut squash. It has a lot more fiber, so the carb count is lower, and it has like that sweet taste to it. I think it has more of a sweet potato taste as opposed to the butternut squash. But you know, like I said, this is my preference, but if you couldn't find this, then you could feel free to get the other kind. So yeah, into the oven. I did go through and I did cut off the skin. So, or like the skin, right? And yeah, that's it. So into the oven, this will go. So while the squash is roasting, I'm gonna go ahead and start making the topping, okay? So what I have in my, this is the Ninja. This is just a half a cup of pecans. So we're gonna go ahead and just pulse those. We wanna like make them a powder, but don't overdo it because I guess you can turn it into like a nut butter. Okay, so first things first, 1/2 cup of pecans. Okay, so there are the pecans all chopped up. I threw in 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and 1/8 of a teaspoon of sugar. And then we're gonna add our sweetener. Our sweetener is 1/4 of a cup of allulose, and we're just going to toss that in there. Okay, and lastly, right here I have 2 tablespoons of melted butter. I'm gonna mix that all together until it becomes crumbly, because this is going to be our topping for our sweet potato casserole. All right, so here is our topping. You guys can see it is nice and crumbly. So it looks good. We're just gonna leave that. Again, I just wanna tell you guys, I'm not following the directions like to the T. I'm kind of doing it just my way. So, you know, you guys might notice that if you follow it and you're like, hey, she seasoned it this way or whatever. I'm just doing it kind of the way I like to do it, but still following the basic ingredients. So, but nonetheless, here is that crumbly, so you guys can see the texture, pecan top coating. So topping for our sweet potato casserole. Here are the, here's the squash. You could tell too, I want to show you that you could squeeze it, okay? So you want it nice and soft, so you're going to puree it. And like I said, I just seasoned it with some salt and some olive oil just to roast it. And then the actual seasoning, the cinnamon, the black pepper, the sweetener, all that stuff, the butter, I'm going to add in as I mix it all together to make sure that it just tastes better. I don't know. I like to do it that way. But to each its own, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer the squash into a food processor, blender, whatever you got. This is what I'm going to use. Even if you have like one of those old school potato mashers, it might take a little extra work, but you could totally do that as well. And we're going to start mixing everything together. And here's everything in that container. We're going to turn it on, and I'm going to turn mine on to food puree. All right, so I seasoned this with some cinnamon, some salt, and some pepper. This right here is just some brown sugar. This is a Swerve brown sugar. I just chose to do that because I feel like that's more on the sweet potato casserole side. And then right here is 2 tablespoons of melted butter, and I'm just going to continue to mix everything, okay? You can taste it, see if you need to put more salt, more pepper, more cinnamon, you know, just do as you wish, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and mix this up and then we'll finish assembling. Okay, so here is the casserole. Everything is mixed up, and I smoothed it out with that spatula, but I tried it. It's so freaking good, just like this, okay? So we're going to start adding our crumbles. Hey Lee, you wanna help me out here? Yeah. And you just kind of sprinkle them across. All right, so here is the like buttery sweetened crumble top, and then we also have about 1.5 cups of just chopped up pecans that we're going to sprinkle over the top as well, okay? So go ahead and just kind of...
I thought there was like some sweet in here.
No, it's just pecans. Just half of that, okay? Mm-hmm. We're just gonna do about half because I don't want it to be...
There's like big ass chunks in here.
It's okay. Just, you could break them up with your hands if you had to. Just kind of giving it a little something extra.
A little razzle-dazzle?
A little razzle-dazzle, absolutely. Ooh, this looks so freaking good. So our oven is still going, okay? We still have it heated up, and we're gonna toss this back in. I never turned it off, P.S. the oven. We're gonna toss this back in for about 25 minutes or so. And that's it, so. Look at how beautiful this looks. It's gonna look even better once it cooks because remember we had all that butter in there. So we'll be back. And here is our sweet potato casserole. I should say sweet potato, but this is with the calabaza squash. Again, if you guys wanted to use, you know, the butternut squash and everything, you could do that as well. But I went ahead and chose to do it this way this year. So this is going to be our side. We'll go ahead and cut into it and I will show you guys, but I'm going to let it cool and let it kind of coagulate a little bit. But look at how good the crust looks. I mean, it has really nice color. It's going to have a nice crunch. I'm excited. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start serving up this casserole, but I wanted to show you guys, like, it's pretty thick. It is soft, but look at the layer. It's so good. The crunchy like top coating and then the soft like squash mixture, delicious. So this squash is not going to be as thick as like a traditional sweet potato because it does give off water and it is a squash, okay? So it has to be a little bit more forgiving. If you chose to add the cauliflower to this, it would thicken it up, okay? So but anyways, I'm gonna have mine just like this. It's fine to me. Oh, it's hot, but it is so good. Way better than the one I made last year. Absolutely way better. If you guys can get your hands on this squash, oh, it's so, so good. And it's sweet and the texture is good. Oh, I love it. So freaking good. And the color is damn near spot on as well. So definitely recommend. And it's, oh, everything so freaking good. Next up is going to be our homemade cranberry sauce. Now, this is something you can make and it could sit in the fridge for about 2 weeks. So if you wanted to make this ahead of time, you could. But we're going to use some fresh cranberries. As you can see, they are a superfruit. They're really good for like, I can't believe you just did that. Yeah. We're going to use some cranberries. Where you're going to need 4 ounces of water. 1 cup of sweetener of choice. This is the allulose I got from Costco. We're going to use, I believe it's a teaspoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of vanilla. So first things first is you're going to want to go ahead and take your 4 ounces of water and dump that in there. And then you're going to want to go through and add your cranberries and start cooking them on like a medium. They're going to start popping, so don't go too far. So here are the cranberries. They're all in the pot. And you're going to want to make sure that all of, gosh, this looks so pretty. Like the colors and everything, like I'm here for it. You're going to want to make sure that all of your cranberries pop, okay? So also last year, I believe it was for Christmas, I did a, what was it? What did we call it? Jingle juice. It was jingle juice, and I froze some cranberries and I used them in place of what did I use? Oh, in place of ice cubes. And then I made like a cranberry like sparkle drink with a little bit of I think I used, I don't know, you can look back on the videos, but if you guys are interested in seeing like some holiday cocktails, let me know and I will go ahead and make those. So you guys could see they're starting to pop. This is over medium heat, okay? We want all of them to pop. But you see, babe?
Oh, here.
It's like popcorn. Ooh.
You gotta stir them up.
Yes. Well, I'm just giving them a visual.
Oh.
Give them a visual. Might burn a little bit, but I just want you guys to see. You see that? Ooh. Okay, I gotta go. I gotta start stirring this, but they're gonna start popping. So we're gonna start adding in our seasoning. You can see that it's like turned into like a paste. So that's a teaspoon of cinnamon. Hold on, you're gonna add a teaspoon of pure vanilla. We got Leo in the kitchen today. So 1 teaspoon. You got it already, that's teaspoon. So 1 whole teaspoon. Keep going, there you go. We're gonna dump that in there. And then we have 1 cup of our sweetener and we're gonna dump that in there. Turn our heat down to low, which we already did. And you could see that it's gonna start getting nice and thick. So you're gonna want to make sure everything is mixed. And this can sit in your fridge for up to 2 weeks, guys. So just go ahead and mix everything. If you wanted to, you could just mash up the remaining cranberries, but what I'm going to do is just keep it on low and let it simmer, and then they should kind of bolt down. But look at how beautiful. Doesn't that look goodly? Mm-hmm. Look at that. Oh God, I'm so excited. And it was super simple, guys. It's just a few ingredients. If you guys wanted to make this into like a gelatin mold, like, you know, people like the kind that are like in a can, what you could do was add the gelatin to your mixture. Maybe get a gelatin mold. No?
No.
Why?
My mom or somebody in my family did that one year, and I thought it was Jell-O when I was a kid.
Oh.
And I took a big old chunk and put it in my mouth, and it was disgusting.
It doesn't matter if you don't.
I've never liked this ever again.
Okay. Anyways, Leo's telling you not to do that because he ate it by mistake. But
Thinking it was Jell-O.
Yeah, I know, Lee, but people like it in the gelatin mold.
Well, there's kids out there that don't know what's gonna. They're gonna think it's like strawberry Jell-O.
Okay, well.
And then they're gonna put a big old spoonful of like cranberry in your mouth.
Okay, well, they gonna learn. Like you learned. But anyways, you could add the gelatin, like the Knorr gelatin packets, and then use the mold and do that, okay? But yeah, I'm gonna keep stirring this until it gets to my thickness that I like, and I'll be back. We are starting on the cornbread mix, and first things first, I wanna show you, I'm gonna do mine slightly different, so hoping it comes out okay. We are going to make ours in a cast iron skillet. This recipe did call for it to be made in a baking dish, but I like it better when it comes in a cast iron skillet. So that's what we're going to do. And I just went ahead and buttered it. So for right here, I have 1.5 cups of almond flour. I use the Kirkland almond flour. I'm going to add in 1/3 a cup of confectioner's sugar. This is the Swerve confectioners, like their powdered sugar. If you don't have that, you can use granulated sugar. Just blend it up, like food process it until it becomes powdery. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon of, I'm sorry, this is just the dry ingredients. So we're gonna add 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And that's gonna be it for the dry. So we're gonna get all that together, mix it up really nicely, and then we're gonna work on our wet ingredients. So here is 4 eggs in a bowl. I'm gonna go ahead and take those eggs, and this is 5 tablespoons of butter, and we're gonna mix these together along with our other wet ingredient, which is this little tiny little thing of vanilla extract. We're gonna do 1/8 of a teaspoon. So like super, super little. We do have our oven preheating at 350 degrees. So we're gonna mix this up. And then what we're gonna slowly start doing is we're gonna start incorporating our dry into our wet. So I'm gonna take little by little. This is just the almond flour, confectioner sugar, cayenne pepper, and baking powder. All right, so here is the actual batter. I am aware that there is a flavoring to make it taste more like cornbread, But I did not want to incorporate that seasoning because, for one, I find them to be a little expensive, and two, they're not easily available. So this is why we're doing it this way, okay? But if you guys like the pure flavor, then you always have that option. I know they're available on Amazon. Right here, we have cut up a jalapeno that has been seeded and cored, and then we also have scallions. So what we're going to do, I am going to add in about half of this jalapeno because it smells kind of spicy, and then half of these scallions. And we're going to use the remainder to sprinkle on the top. And then you're going to start folding, okay? So here's the jalapeno, and we're gonna make it also a cheddar type cornbread. You can look at this batter and see it's nice and thick, which is what we want. Okay, make sure it's mixed in nicely. This is also one of those recipes that you can use year-round, guys. I just thought it would be nice to have for Thanksgiving. Okay. Next up is going to be some cheddar cheese. We're going to add about 1/4 of a cup into the actual batter, and then we're going to sprinkle some on the top as well. That's just a like cheddar Monterey Jack type mix. But if you just wanted to do cheddar, you could do that, or mozzarella, whatever floats your boat. Pepper jack. I mean, cheesies are endless. Okay, so you see how I'm just kind of folding everything in. Everything will be well incorporated. Okay. Now we're gonna go over and we're gonna start putting this into our cast iron. As you can see, my cast iron is pre-greased. It did recommend using parchment. I just opted out for that, and I'm just kind of hoping for the best. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, we're gonna add our batter. Just make sure you're scraping it, get all the batter. You worked hard for it. You don't want to leave any in the bowl, especially any of the cheese, because food leaves cheese behind. And then what I do, you're gonna wanna make sure that it's distributed pretty evenly throughout. This is a medium-sized cast iron. I have the leftover jalapenos, so I'm just gonna kind of place them kind of all over. Okay. And then we're gonna take some of the scallions, sprinkle those over. And then we're gonna go through and top it with just a little bit more of the cheese. Just give it a little covering. And here is the jalapeno cheddar cornbread. Super easy, minimal ingredients, and this is gonna go into the oven at 350 degrees for 30 to 40 minutes, just so when you go ahead and stick your knife, it comes out clear. So I'll check in with you guys when it's done. And here it is. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love it. So it came out really good. I ended up cooking mine for about 40 minutes because, you know, Danielle's oven's always off, but it looks really, really good. All right, so I'm gonna cut into this so you guys can see it has like a good texture to it. It's nice and flaky. I don't even know how to cut cornbread. I guess we're gonna cut it like a pizza? I don't know.
Yeah, like a pie.
All right, so yeah, that's what we're gonna do. All right, so here is the cornbread. I want to show you guys just the crust of it. So I'm going to flip it over so you guys can see it has a nice crust on both ends. All right, Lee, give it a whirl. It might be spicy because it has the jalapeno on it.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good?
Mm-hmm.
Let me try a piece.
I'm not a fan of the jalapenos in there though. I like it just regular, but it's pretty good. It gives it a good flavor.
Oh, that's real flaky.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, but it's moist.
Yeah.
Oh, it has a really good taste to it.
Like it has a really good flavor.
Yeah, this one is so good. I'm gonna leave this recipe. All the recipes will be linked down below. Man, this is delicious. I'm gonna sit down and have me a nice piece of that. But there you go, my friends. Keto Thanksgiving sides. And even if you're not an experienced cook or whatever, because I'm not like a chef, you can make it and enjoy it and enjoy your holidays. So have a...
If you have the cast iron, definitely do it.
Yep, for sure. So happy Thanksgiving, guys. I hope this helps you guys with your meal inspiration, and I will see you on the next one. Take it easy, friends.